both business owners and consumers rightfully have some concern about what this will mean for them, what this will mean in terms of cost if you're a consumer, what's your bottom line if you're a business, and how are you going to make sure that it doesn't impact you. But what I would say is, and I've told the administration this multiple times, it's my hope, what we will hear from the president is that he will pause some of these tariffs, continue the pause for the countries that have been working in good faith. We have many countries right now that are at the table, they're negotiating in good faith, they're looking to lower their barriers of entry, allow more American products into the country, try to make a more balanced trade. And I think that if they are working with us, then we should give them a little more time. Obviously, it is difficult within that 90-day period to make so many trade deals all at once because each is very exclusive, specific to that nation, and addresses different needs. But what we have seen from the president is more fair trade for the American company, for the American worker, as it relates to giving us a better deal, right? Making sure that our products are not hit with tariffs when they are imported elsewhere. And we've seen this with multiple Asian nations. We've seen it with the EU. We've seen it UK. And there's still a slew of other countries out there that we know are at the table negotiating, and we should not, try to put this additional tariff on them if they're acting in good faith.
Well, when we consider the administration is also touting the revenue that is being brought in by the existing tariffs, Congresswoman, knowing that that revenue is coming from importers who are paying that tax when they bring these products into the United States, is that really a better deal for them?
Well, it is bringing in significant revenue, and we shouldn't be turning a blind eye to that. I mean, look, we're talking of what could be well over $1 trillion, trillions of dollars over the next decade that could certainly help pay down our debt in one respect. The thing is, you want to make sure that it's reasonable, so it's not going to again impact those end users of consumers. We really haven't seen those consumer prices increase. What we have seen, by the way, is trillions of dollars of private investment coming to the United States, whether it's from foreign companies or domestic companies, companies that are looking to expand their facilities. You mentioned the pharmaceutical industry earlier, automakers. We're seeing that they are investing in the United States. That is creating jobs. We saw the 3% GDP growth. I think you'll continue to see that. Now that we've also passed the tax legislation that will be pro-growth, pro-jobs, that will play a role. It all needs to be balanced. That's, I think, at the end of the day, what people are looking for, some type of balance here. And tariffs is a small piece of that equation, is a strategic tool, needs to be used, though, in a targeted approach. And really, we should be looking for a particular outcome from the nation that we're dealing with, not just an across-the-board, slamming every country with tariffs, particularly if they're working with us at this moment to get a more fair trade deal.
Well, it's possible we'll see more extensions before this day is over after Mexico got one. Congresswoman, we've been hearing from a lot of your Republican colleagues in the House and a number of Republican strategists who talk to us every day here on Balance of Power, who seem to think that a government shutdown is a lot more likely now than it was even a month ago following the passage of the rescissions package. A lot of Democrats are saying we're pulling away from the table. Republicans cannot be trusted. Does that ensure a shutdown at the end of September?
Well, I think Democrats not wanting to work with us in a bipartisan manner to fund the government can certainly lead to a shutdown, particularly when you need 7 votes in the Senate to pass any appropriations bill. And so it is concerning. I would argue that all our appropriation bills have passed in a bipartisan manner. It is the right thing to do is to avoid a government shutdown, make sure, and I've been through this now probably about 5 times, we've always averted the shutdown. So really, if we have a shutdown, it will be because the Democrats don't want to work with us in a bipartisan manner, because all these bills will be bipartisan at the end of the day. So they shouldn't hold their votes. And I would say that look, we need to be responsible here. We need to legislate. The impact of a shutdown is very problematic, and we should really try to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, of course, considering there may be political consequences as well as the midterms approach, Congresswoman. And as the midterms approach, we have a question as to what exactly the map is going to look like, knowing that Texas in a special legislative session right now is actively pursuing redistricting that could see Republicans net 5 seats in that state. Your governor in New York, Kathy Hochul, is now threatening to try to take action of her own. She says, "I won't sit by while Donald Trump and Texas Republicans try to steal our nation's future." Are we about to get into a dangerous gerrymandering war, Congresswoman?
Look, I hope not. And as somebody who is a victim of gerrymandering, I don't care if it's the Republicans or the Democrats that are doing it. It's wrong, and it should not be done. We have to make sure people are electing their representatives, and to try to alter a map to tilt the scale is wrong. We had to sue the governor in 2022 when they tried to really tilt the scale, in my case, put in very heavily Democrat areas of Brooklyn. It was the most ludicrous map. And because of my district, the whole state map was thrown out. And I think the Democrats learned a lesson there. When we had an independent person draw the map, they ended up losing 2 incumbents and then multiple seats in addition to that. And so what I would simply say is, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, gerrymandering is wrong. It should not be done. It's corrupt. And we have to make these maps as fair and balanced and competitive as possible. And perhaps we need to move toward computer-generated maps or just court independently drawn maps. But I don't support the gerrymandering, and I could speak about that from firsthand experience.
Yeah, I know this hits close to home for you, Congresswoman. It sounds like you agree with Democrats in Texas, though, that this should not happen.
Look, I agree with anyone who does not want to gerrymander, because like I said, it is just not the right thing to do. And I think that at the end of the day, we should be making these maps. And by the way, it shouldn't be made also to protect incumbents, which is the thing we see here in New York. These maps, whether they're at the state or federal level, are drawn to protect incumbents, and they're not competitive. My seat happens to be a competitive seat. It's one of the only competitive seats. Actually, I think it is the only competitive seat in the city of New York on the federal level. And that's the way it should be. So the voters have a say on whether they want me to represent them for another 2 years. Unfortunately, it's not like that throughout the state, and it shouldn't be an incumbent protection program either.